Welcome. This movie, Return to the Blue Lagoon, is of 1991, which starts in a splendid sea. You can see a boat in the middle of the ocean with some people in it. Currently, the boat drifting in the sea is noticed by a passing ship, but by this time, the child's parents were already dead. The boy is taken into care by the woman Sarah Hargrave, who at that time was left with his little daughter Lily. Soon a cholera epidemic begins on the ship and people begin to die one after another. The captain of the ship understands that no port of any country will accept them with such a disease. So he decides to put the woman and 2 children on a boat. He sent them on a free voyage so that they could have a chance to escape from cholera. Mr. Roots goes with them and to help them get to the shore. However, the man is more worried, realizing that they can swim indefinitely. The captain of the boat refuses to give water to the children as a means of saving their life. He offers to throw them overboard. Mrs. Hargrave, taking advantage of the opportune moment, kills him and throws him into the sea. After some time, the boat nails to the island. The boy begins to say this island is home and call his mom and dad. After which, Sarah understands that this is the very place where Richard was born. His parents sailed from this place in search of salvation, the abundance of fruits, fish, and excellent living conditions, which allow the king to raise children carefree on an uninhabited island. The only danger on the island was its northern part, where every full moon savages sailed to perform a bloody ritual of sacrifice. Years pass, the children grow up, and Sarah raises them as civilized people. They were in a hope that one day a ship will sail and take them away to San Francisco. The children have a question about the differences between men and women, especially of the female body, and also about the marriage. Sarah tells them about the changes in the body that occurs in them in the process of growing up. He briefed them about that, from where the children come from, and why marriage is needed to change company. There was a shark who lived in the same lagoon. Having been trapped until dark, Richard figures out how to distract the shark with caught fish. Together with Liliana, they swim to the boat. He almost got caught by the teeth of a bloodthirsty predator on the island. A storm is approaching and the rain breaks through the roof of the hut. He asks Sarah to wait and fixes the roof, but then he gets a bad cold. They understands that a simple cold has turned into pneumonia, which will lead them to inevitable death. Sarah explains to the already strong and independent children that they will have to continue to live without her and shows where and how they will need to bury her. Richard and the girl grow into teenagers. They continue to follow the traditions that their mother taught them and celebrate Easter in the form of a game by hiding colored eggs around the island. Richard adds conditions to this fun by saying that whoever finds the most eggs will receive a prize at the end of the game. Lily thinks that she won, although Richard gives it to her, hiding one of the found eggs. Lily asks for her prize, and Richard takes out seabed pearl. The girl is very happy by receiving such a gift and makes hair jewelry out of it. The guy and the girl behave like typical teenagers. Richard competes with sharks, and the girls brags about their victories from a dangerous predator. Lily looks at herself in the mirror, studying the changes in her body, and the guy in this is spying on her and watching the changes in her body. After some time, their relationship changes. It is no longer the same as it was in childhood, and Richard begins to miss these times. Teenagers feel attracted to each other, and he didn't understand the whole procedure in which a girl becomes a woman and shares this with Lily. Although, a change was also happens in Richard's body. There's nothing funny, but after watching his body, the girl laughs at the guy, wondering what happens. A little later, Richard's youthful maximalism gains momentum and a quarrel was leaked. He decides to go to the northern part of the island, although this was prohibited by the rules established by their mother, and it was a forbidden place. On northern side, he finds skeletons of human skulls. By this time, a tribe of savages arrives on the island to perform the next ritual. Richard hides not far from the natives and smears himself with mud to be less noticeable. At the end, he runs out with a spear at the last remaining savage, but does not kill him, and they apart, smiling at each other. The guy returns to Lily, who is frightened and worried about him, and talks about everything he saw. While he is washing himself off the dirt in the sea, and Lily talks about her experiences and asks him to never quarrel again. They begin to kiss in the rays of the sunset, and Richard talks about that he wants them to merge and become husband and wife. The lovers arrange a wedding, exchanging vows and homemade rings and enjoying each other now as husband and wife together, forever. One day, Lily notices a white sailboat and Richard rushes to light the signal fire, but they are frightened and stop. They begin to follow the approaching boat, seeing a woman in the boat in the company of men. They come out to meet them. There were a Captain Jacob Hiller and the crew. To put it mildly, they were very surprised by the findings of civilized people on an uninhabited island. The captain says that this is a godforsaken place that sailors always avoid due to its unfortunate location. However, this time, they could not pass by because they ran out of water and were forced to moor to the island. The men from the ship devoured the half-naked young Lily with their eyes, and the captain introduced them to his daughter Sylvia, who immediately fell for Richard. Lily and Richard invited the captain and the crew. They arranged a team dinner where they talk about how they got to the island and about their way of life on it. One of the experienced sailors, Quinlan, notices Lily's hair and notices the decorating the stage with a pearl. A little later, as gifts, Lily and Richard wear clothes and Sylvie shares items for feminine care with the girl. The captain's daughter tries in every possible way to attract Richard's attention, and in the evening she offers to have fun and dance, but when Lily sees how Richard dances, she calls it a children's round dance. After learning, they started to dance with Richard. While watching them dancing, Lily got upset and rushed outside while crying. Onwards, Silvio offends Lily and she runs away in the middle of the lesson before going to bed. Richard tells Lily that he is attracted to Sylvia by her. He's so interested in her but there is a one probel. He can't see her without clothes. He is very curious about how she looks like under the clothes. In the morning, Lily decides to put on makeup like Sylvia to regain Richard's interest, but she ends up with war paint and looks so cute in it. But Richard sends her to wash. While he goes to teach Sylvia how to fish while fishing, the captain's daughter tries to seduce the guy, but she doesn't succeed. Richard tells the captain's daughter that he doesn't want to offend Lily. Meanwhile, Quinlan lies in wait for the girl. He grabs Lily and tells her where the pearl is. Having received what he wants, Quinlan doesn't stop and decides to take advantage of her beautiful. He grabs her in his arms and forcefully gets advantage of her. Lily begins to scream and asks him to let her go. Richard, who escaped from fishing, returns just in time, but the strength of the young man is inferior to the strength of the experienced sailor. Richard manages to snatch the gun from him, but the sailor notices that the young man does not understand how to shoot with it. One of the members of the captain's team came to the rescue to separate the fighting, but the enraged Quinlan says to let him go. He wants to kill the boy. Meanwhile, Quinlan starts shooting Richard, but he managed to escape by running towards beach furiously. The Queen and the sailor goes after him. Quinlan wanted but never hits Richard. Sailor instead of the habitat of sharks, and exactly as he had done before with the caught fish, where a little later the predator deals with the sailor and the guy returns to Lily. Richard talks about the fact that the ship will sail at sunset. The Queen says that she wants to stay, but Sailor did not agree. She offered Lily and Richard to go with them in the outside world. Meanwhile, Lily tells Richard that she carries a child inside her. The guy doesn't believe her and asks how she knows this, to which Lily replies that women always feel it. Lily says that she doesn't want a child to be born in the vain world. She wants to raise a baby here where there is no deception, temptation of lies and rifles. Richard fully supports his beloved Lily, and together they watch the departing ship. While remaining on the island in the last moment of the film, we see how a beautiful baby was born. Lily and Richard return to their usual way of life on island and live their life happily. This movie was fantastic, but if you want to watch more wonderful movies, you can click on these videos to your right on the screen. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. See you soon!